There are three main places you can get food on Virtuosa that are included in the price. These are the buffet, the main dining rooms, and if you're in the fantastic affair or above, room service. This is free for breakfast only.
We'll start with the buffet, as we found that surprisingly this was the best place to get food on the ship. The buffet is a huge square on deck 15 and you can walk all the way around and the food repeats several times. The food generally isn't great on Virtuosa, but something that's fabulous is the pizza.
This is made fresh constantly through the buffet service and is good as any pizza we've had in Naples, but the queues for it are really long. Speaking of queues, on the sea day the queue for breakfast was so long and coming from two directions at once, which meant fights were almost breaking out over the hash browns.
MSC really needed to sort out the way they manage the food in the buffet. They don't clear the tables and there's literally nowhere to sit. Our parents ended up kneeling on the floor for one breakfast.
It was quite disappointing to see that the vegetarian section was closed more often than it was open. This meant that we had to find veggie options in the main buffet, and some of these were a bit strange, and they repeated, so we found we were often eating the same things day after day. It was all pretty beige.
Normally on a cruise ship, if you want to escape the bland food from the buffet, you'd have the option to eat in the main dining room. There are 4 of these on Virtuosa, and we were in the opera restaurant. However, for breakfast and lunch, these are only open for an hour, and we saw really long queues and people turned away and not allowed in because they were full.
We found the food in the dining room really disappointing. At breakfast, it looked like they'd literally thrown the food on a plate. There wasn't a veggie option, and breakfast came with meat even if you asked for it not to.
Lunch looked like it had been eaten by someone else first, and was frankly gross. And dessert was safely the worst thing I've ever seen. It was meant to be a Nutella pastry, but you can judge it for yourself.
Dinner wasn't much better. Small portions, bland, and either really undercooked or really overcooked. On other cruises, we've really enjoyed the food, but we all came back from this holiday having lost weight.
Because of the issues in the buffet in the main dining room, we decided to order a room service breakfast for one morning. We filled in the door hanger and requested breakfast for 9:15. It turned up at 10:30, and it was stone cold and not what we ordered.
The only really impressive thing we found about the food and drink on Virtuosa was the Jean-Philippe hot chocolates. These are a paid extra, but are absolutely delicious. But they are at least £5.50 each, so add up. What does Bob think about the food on MSC?
I think that the food and organization of food on MSC Virtuosa is really bad. It's bland, boring, and repetitive. I give food a 2 out of 10.